Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off our presentation today. We're exploring Surah Takathur, a powerful chapter from the Quran. This session will introduce its themes and significance. We'll briefly look at its main messages and how they relate to our daily lives. Let's get started. In this slide, we see that Allah reminds us that many people are preoccupied with the love of the world, its pleasures, and its adornments. This obsession distracts us from focusing on the hereafter and truly desiring it. Because of this, we often delay our pursuit of the eternal life until death comes to us. When death arrives, we visit the graves, and at that point, we become its inhabitants. The slide references a hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari in the Book of Ar-Rikak, narrated by Anas bin Malik. Ubi bin Kabi explained that they used to think that certain verses were part of the Quran until a specific ayah was revealed. The mutual increase diverts you. This ayah highlights how the desire for more wealth and possessions can divert us from our spiritual goals. The Prophet Muhammad also said that if a person had a valley of gold, they would still desire another like it. This illustrates how greed is endless and never satisfied. The servant might claim, my wealth, but in reality, wealth only benefits us in three ways: what we eat and finish, what we wear until it wears out, and what we give in charity, because everything else will eventually leave us and be taken by others. As humans, even as we grow old and face senility, two things persist with us: greed and hope. We are often driven by the constant desire for more and the hope that our wealth and status will bring us happiness. Finally, the verse from the Quran, competition for more gains diverts you from Allah, reminds us that this endless pursuit of worldly gains can divert our attention away from our spiritual purpose. Overall, this slide emphasizes the importance of balancing our love for the world with our focus on the hereafter, urging us to reflect on what truly matters. Copyright 2025 by Continuous Learning Development. Now, let's reflect on a very important point. Often, we don't realize the true benefit of remembering and worshiping Allah, Swah, until it's too late, until death. We get so caught up in the race to earn and accumulate wealth that we forget what's truly more important: our connection with Allah, Swah. This competition for material gains can actually keep us away from the real purpose of our creation, worshiping Allah, Swah. Remember, Allah, Swah, created us for no other reason than to worship Him alone. But in the pursuit of wealth and worldly success, we sometimes forget to spend time with Allah, Swah. And unfortunately, this busyness can cause us to neglect our spiritual responsibilities until it's too late. Because, in the end, when we are laid in our graves, that moment of realization hits hardest, when we understand what truly matters. As it's said in the Quran, until you end up in your graves, you might not fully grasp the importance of worship and remembrance. So, this slide reminds us of the urgency to prioritize our spiritual connection with Allah, Swah, now, before it's too late. Now, on this slide, we see a reminder that Allah, Arabic Sin, Arabic Ba, Arabic Het, Arabic Alif, Arabic Nun, Arabic Ha, Arabic Waw, Arabic Ta, Arabic Tain, Arabic Alif, Arabic Lam, Arabic Alif Maksura, is informing those who neglect their third duties towards their religion that they will soon face the consequences of their actions. It's a powerful message about accountability and awareness. The phrase, "they will learn the consequences of doing so soon," emphasizes that neglecting our spiritual responsibilities doesn't go unnoticed, and eventually, we will come to understand the impact of our choices. The verse from Surah Takathur, "But know, you will soon come to know," is a direct reassurance that, sooner or later, the truth will become clear to everyone. It's a reminder that neglecting our duties might provide temporary comfort, but ultimately, we cannot escape divine justice and knowledge. This ties into our overall theme today, which is about the importance of fulfilling our religious responsibilities with sincerity and mindfulness. It's a call to reflect on our actions now, to avoid the regret that comes with neglecting what's essential in our faith. Remember, Allah's awareness of our actions is always present, and His knowledge of our intentions is profound. As we look at this slide, it's important to understand that Allah SWT repeatedly emphasizes the consequences that await us. This isn't meant to scare us, but rather to create a sense of awareness and caution. These reminders serve as a warning, encouraging us to reflect on our actions and prepare for what's to come in the hereafter. When we hear verses like this, especially, again, know. You will soon come to know. It's a powerful reminder that the reality of the afterlife is imminent and unavoidable. This verse, from Surah Takathur 102:4, should motivate us to stay mindful of our deeds and stay committed to righteousness. Ultimately, these messages are about helping us stay on the right path and ensuring we're ready for that moment when we meet Allah SWT. Let's take a moment to reflect on what Allah SWT is telling us here. He informs us that if we truly understood and believed in the reality of meeting Him, our attitude and actions would be very different. It's not just about knowing intellectually, but truly believing in that inevitable meeting. He also emphasizes that if we knew the severity of the consequences, the bad fate that awaits, then our actions would change dramatically. We would be more mindful, more dedicated to preparing ourselves for that ultimate end. This means spending our time effectively, not wasting it on trivial pursuits or neglecting our duties. Because if we truly believed in the certainty of that meeting and the terrible consequences, we would act differently, more diligently and more conscientiously. The verse from the Quran reminds us that if we knew our fate with certainty, if we really believed in what's to come, we would be motivated to behave differently. It's a powerful reminder to keep our focus on the hereafter and to act with that awareness in mind. As Allah SWT informs us in these verses, He's warning us about the serious consequences of neglecting our duties towards our faith. The warning specifically points to the terrible fate of hellfire, a reminder of what could await us if we're not careful. Allah SWT emphasizes that we will certainly see the fire, which reassures us that this is not a distant possibility, but an unavoidable reality if we continue on a wrong path. This certainty should serve as a wake-up call. If we truly believed that bad deeds and neglecting our responsibilities could lead us to be thrown into the fire, wouldn't that motivate us to change? We would make a conscious effort to improve our behavior, to guard our faith more diligently, and to prepare for a better afterlife. The verse ends with a clear warning, "But you will surely see the hellfire." It's a reminder that this is not just a vague threat, but a definite outcome. So, understanding this, we should reflect deeply on our actions and strive to stay on the path that leads us away from such a fate, aiming instead for Allah's pleasure and a safe, peaceful afterlife. Let's take a moment to reflect on what Allah SWT is telling us here. He reminds us that our eyes will witness the truth of the fire, something we might currently be failing to fully comprehend. Many people believe that seeing something with their own eyes is the ultimate proof, and indeed, visual confirmation can be powerful. But Allah SWT is emphasizing that once we see the fire with our own eyes, we will know it is the truth. This is a crucial point because it shows us that the reality of the hereafter is undeniable once it becomes visible. Yet, at the same time, the previous verses urge us to take the fire seriously even now, before we see it, by preparing ourselves to avoid being thrown into it. It's a reminder that we don't need to wait until the last moment to understand the severity of this reality. Even if we cannot physically see the fire today, Allah SWT is informing us of its existence so we can learn and reflect. It's about taking lessons now, while we still have time before our death. The verse 102:7 reinforces this idea. Again, you will surely see it with the eye of certainty. So this slide is about the importance of faith and awareness. It encourages us to acknowledge the reality of the hereafter, whether we see it now or not, and to act accordingly, with sincerity and preparation. This understanding ties into the overall theme of our presentation, living a life conscious of the unseen and always aiming for righteousness before it's too late. Today, I want to highlight an important reminder from Allah SWT about how we spend our time and effort in this worldly life. Allah informs us that all the time and effort we put into accumulating wealth and enjoying it will be questioned. Yes, every bit of our pursuit for worldly pleasures will be accounted for. We will be asked to give an account for how occupied we were with these pleasures, and whether we prioritize the hereafter or got caught up only in this world. Often, we are so busy making and enjoying wealth that we forget the true purpose of our existence. We seek a pleasurable life here, sometimes at the expense of our eternal future. Working solely for this world while neglecting the next, that's a dangerous path. That's why Allah teaches us to make a dua. Our Lord, grant us the good of this world and the hereafter, and protect us from the torment of the fire. It's a beautiful reminder that we should strive for balance, seeking the good in this life while not losing sight of the hereafter. And on that day, when the time comes, we will definitely be questioned about our worldly pleasures, as mentioned in Surah Takathur, verse 102:8. This emphasizes the importance of being mindful of how we allocate our efforts and pleasures now, knowing that ultimately we will be held accountable. So let's keep this in mind and strive to balance our pursuits with the remembrance of our ultimate goal. Earning wealth itself is not a sin. In fact, it's a natural part of life. However, what becomes problematic is when we spend our entire lives just chasing after more and more wealth, constantly competing to be richer than others. That endless pursuit can lead us away from what truly matters. It's also important to remember that if we become so busy with earning that we neglect our religious duties, we will face consequences. The punishment for neglecting these spiritual responsibilities is described as hellfire, a severe reminder of the importance of maintaining a balance. Many people might regret their actions after death, but by then, it's often too late as they are already in the grave. That regret is a heavy burden, but it's a reminder for us to reflect now before it's too late. Working to earn a livelihood is perfectly acceptable and even encouraged, as long as it doesn't distract us from remembering Allah, SWT. Our focus should always be on maintaining that spiritual connection, not just accumulating worldly possessions. In summary, while earning wealth is permissible, we must be mindful not to let it consume our lives or distract us from our faith. Keeping that balance is key to living a meaningful and spiritually fulfilling life.